Welcome to Porcelain Peak, a strange and scary podcast dissecting all things horror and sci-fi. Here are your hosts, or what's left of them, Tone, John, and Anthony. Enjoy the trivia while you can.
Hey campers, welcome back to season 4 of Porcelain Peak, and welcome to Creature Can.
Creature noises.
Keep the fingers. Alright, this episode we are talking about some Chop Talk news. You got some news?
Got a little bit of news.
Sick. Then we're going to play trivia. John's coming off a win. A big win, a 4-way win. And then for
I better
our...
be coming on a win. Is what I'm saying.
For our main discussion, we are talking about The Thing from Another World, The Thing from 1982, and The Thing from 2011.
Thing one, thing two.
Yeah.
Thing black, thing blue.
We're having a thing off. And then for our final cut, we're talking about the finale of Obi-Wan and episode 5 of Stranger Things. We got one binge broken.
Yeah.
Mostly because we had to. Stranger Things has been a little tougher, but enough said. Let's go ahead and get started with this episode.
Why don't you take an axe and chop it open?
Well, John, Anthony, Counselor, how are you guys?
You sound like you need a counselor.
I have
Everything
one.
okay, man?
I have one. Her name's Nancy, and she's lovely.
It's like, well, guys, we're here for another fucking episode. How you doing?
I've been doing well.
Hell yeah, dude.
We got a lot going on today. We'll talk about some of the things that we have in the pipeline here in a little bit. But I've also been enjoying the fact that a lot of my favorite musical artists have been dropping or preparing to drop new albums, which makes me really happy. The big one that I'm really excited about is the Wonder Years. They're probably my favorite band, and they are dropping an album in September, and they've been dropping like a song every like couple of weeks to kind of lead up to that, and I've been very, very excited for that.
Yeah, but Fred Savage is a pervert.
Not Fred Savage.
You can't
The band is called the Wonder Years. They don't have any.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
How are you doing?
Yeah, well, I don't have anything music-wise that's exciting me. I listen to the same shit all the time. It's so boring. But other than that, doing pretty well. I'm very happy that we are through all of the stuff we had to watch for this episode, because it was giving me a lot of anxiety being like, okay, I have
finish
to
it all.
I do the fucking black phone. I got to do the thing.
Don't fuck the black phone.
Yeah.
What if they put a phone in a drawer?
Ooh, a phone in a drawer, you say. But yeah, I'm doing pretty well. Excited to talk about all these things.
So many things.
Yeah.
Including so many things.
Yeah.
So many the things.
Yeah.
But first, I got some news to hit you boys with.
We saw some pretty crazy trailers when we went and watched The Black Phone. Did you see some crazy trailers too? Like Fall and that lion?
Yeah, I was...
Or Beast?
Yeah,
Beast?
I was
Yeah.
like, how was I not aware that any of these movies were coming out all in August? They were all August movies, and I was like, I had no fucking clue that this lion movie existed, which looks kind of cool. Beast is what it's
Super
called,
cool, yeah.
with
That
Idris Elba.
a classic creature feature. I was like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, dude.
right up our alley.
Just a month too late.
There was a Nope trailer that I did not watch, but I
Oh, yeah,
could
my ass
hear,
walked
and
out.
I
Walked
could,
out, yeah.
and I could tell was showing all the fucking movie.
Yeah.
From what I could tell, from what I could hear. But yeah, that fall movie or that fall trailer, I thought was really well done, because that just as a teaser, I was like, "Okay, I'm in. This looks scary as fuck. Just show me some people really high up on this thing. Don't explain anything about it." And then I loved how it said, "Dropping soon."
Yeah. I was like, come on, man.
Very clever. But
And in the Beast movie, we get old Sweetie Man. The
Sweetie Man.
What's up, dude? Don't try to do that with the lions.
Yeah.
I keep seeing the trailer for what's the one with Florence Pugh?
Don't Worry, Darling.
Yeah.
And
Olivia Wilde's movie.
It seems like it's giving a lot away.
It seems like it's gonna be like maybe Stepford Wives-ish.
I'm
That's
into
the
it.
vibe I'm getting. I
Her
haven't seen
last movie
Booksmart.
was tight, yeah.
Yeah, but I've heard that it's really good. I'm going to watch it in anticipation of this, even though I know it's not horror, just to get kind of a feel. But
If you like Superbad or like Edge of 17, it's kind of if those two movies made a movie. If those two movies fucked.
and then what is it? And then a squirrel fucked another fish. But yeah, I still think that it looks cool. And if this is the only trailer that they show, I'm like, cool, because if this isn't showing everything and we're just seeing some of the moments, then that's fine. But anything more than that, I think is going to be spoiling way too much. So I'm not interested. Don't want to see it.
And then before we get into that, I will say that if you haven't seen it or don't know about it, we have a YouTube exclusive episode on the Black Phone.
Yeah. Scott Derrickson, Ethan Hawke, all those folks.
Really
Yeah,
good
check
time
out.
recording it.
Check that out. Can we link it? Or is that
Well,
Just point in a
Somewhere?
general direction, and he'll edit in something.
general direction.
Yeah.
Hi there.
So
That's general
news.
erection.
You guys ever hear of an old movie called Mad Max Fury Road?
Yeah,
Sure did.
they're finally doing Furiosa.
Yeah, Warner Brothers put out a synopsis today for the Furiosa.
Because I think we
movie.
mentioned it before.
Yeah, it's actually happening for realsies.
Wow.
Yeah, so the synopsis is: as the world fell, young Furiosa is snatched from the green place of many mothers and falls into the hands of a great biker horde led by the warlord Dementus. Sweeping through the wasteland, they come across the Citadel, presided over by the Immortan Joe. While the two tyrants war for dominance, Furiosa must survive many trials as she puts together the means to find her way home. So it sounds to me like it's going to be a prequel to Mad Max Fury Road.
Interesting.
Interesting.
But it sounds similar to the plot of Mad Max Fury Road.
Is Miller directing, writing?
Yes, and he said that on the side of this, he still plans to do more Tom Hardy Mad Max movies, but this will have Charlize Theron, obviously, and also Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah,
in
Chris
it.
Hemsworth posted a picture of the slate from the last day of filming.
Oh, nice.
And that was how I found out it even fucking existed.
Whoa. They're already done?
Yeah. they
Holy
finished
shit.
filming.
Yeah, I think they're making a threequel to Happy Feet, like called Tappy Toes or something. And Miller's not able to do it because he was doing this. I think.
He said that apparently Mad Max Fury Road was like a week's worth of planning and thought, and then like boom, let's make the fucking movie. And he said Furiosa has been more like 5 years worth of planning, obviously, since Fury Road came
Well, I
out.
thought
but-
he'd been wanting to make.
Yeah, but I think maybe like the concept. I mean, it is a very basic movie. It
Yeah.
was mostly like, okay, can we get the people and the money together to go out in the desert and shoot like a giant
Music
hour and a
video?
half to chase scene? Yeah,
Yeah, literally have the biggest spectacle film that's probably been released in our lifetime.
So good, though.
Yeah.
I want to watch it right now. On a little bit of a smaller scale, but something that's near and dear to our hearts, R.L. Stine, I think I might have mentioned this before, is coming out with an adult-themed horror comic.
Not porn themed, but
Not porn themed, but horror for adults. And it is called Stuff of Nightmares, I believe. And the thing that I found really interesting is that one of the variant covers for the first issue, it has art by Tim Jacobus, who did all of the classic art for the Goosebumps books. And it looks like it's an homage to both Darkman and Evil Dead. So the comic has been referred to as R.L. Stine's spin on classic horror characters. So I don't know if he's going to be taking spins at Sam Raimi stuff or what that's going to be about. But
Yeah, fuck yeah.
he said he's very excited to be doing horror that's a bit more adult themed. So I'm excited for that. In a similar vein to Goosebumps, Are You Afraid of the Dark's Ghost Island is premiering July 30th.
Oh, they're finally doing it, huh?
I did not realize they already had a second season of this.
They did?
Yeah, this is the third season. So
Oh.
there was a second season of this that we completely missed out on,
Well,
which
because we watched the Carnival one.
which was the first season.
Which was great.
And they've
I
had one in between
still
them.
haven't watched any of it.
It was pretty good.
I liked it. So it makes me want to go and watch the second season
Shit.
now that I know it exists, because this is the third season. And then a director that is also near and dear to our hearts, Lee Winnell, is in talks to direct a project that I don't think any of us are going to be particularly excited about, which is The Green Hornet.
Oh, wow. Well, it destroyed Michelle Gondry's career.
Yeah, and it kind of makes me wonder why this is something that anybody's at. Like, who alive today, besides the people who are in the Supreme Court, remember who the fuck the Green Hornet is?
And if so, fuck you.
Yeah, I just don't really see how anybody besides the old farts who run Universal have any fucking idea or interest in the Green Hornet. And to take Lee Winnell, who maybe has an interest in the Green Hornet, and put him on this project, I'm like, no, let him do something spooky.
Yeah, I mean,
Or let him do Escape from New York. What the fuck happened to that?
yeah, I mean, we've never covered it on the show, but I definitely have seen the Green Hornet with Seth Rogen.
Yeah, I'm a big Michel Gondry fan, and so I enjoyed that movie for what it was. But again, I only saw it the one time in theaters and never since. So I probably wouldn't like it very much now. I just like his style and the little bits of his style that were able to come through on that movie.
And there's still some cool like practical effects in it, like the front half of the car that drives through the building or whatever. They do that all practical, and it's hilarious in that one moment. But like the rest of the movie is just it's very slapstick. It feels very old school superhero style, but not in a way that's entertaining, like going back and checking out something like Batman from '66 or things like that.
Yeah. So I mean, he's not confirmed on it, so we don't know for sure if this is what he's doing next.
Don't do it.
Yeah,
Don't do
Lee, if you're watching, don't do it.
We'll watch Dead Silence, I promise.
Dude, I watch Dead Silence like every 6 months, so I'm doing my part.
Isn't he busy?
Probably.
Isn't he supposed to be doing some other universe stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Who's making that Wolfman movie with Ryan Gosling? I don't know. All I see with Ryan Gosling now is him in that Barbie movie, which everybody is fucking super stoked for.
Oh, yeah. I've seen
Barbie?
it all over
Yeah,
Twitter.
he's
It's
Ken.
Margot Robbie is playing Barbie. So they
And he's Ken, and they look perfect.
Yeah.
They look amazing.
Well, I'm erect.
Yeah, and then the last bit of news I had is, again, something that we're probably not terribly excited about, but there is some buzz going around that Netflix is looking to do a sequel to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the one that came out earlier this year.
Got a lot of people talking, and that's what Netflix wants. Is
Yeah,
word of mouth,
and that's
so.
exactly what I was going to say, is that they basically were like, well, it did really good numbers, viewership on Netflix, so why not make a sequel? It's not like it's going to cost us a terribly large amount of money. And the director has already stated that he has all kinds of cool ideas and twists and things that he wants to do with sequel movies. Everybody's fucking said that about Texas Chainsaw Massacre, man. Let it die.
As people that have watched every single one, I'm pretty over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can give me an hour and 30 minutes of more shit like the bus scene and less like the absolute travesty that you created by bringing Sally Hardesty back into the series, then I'll be on board. I'll be on
her
record.
back into the series.
Say it. I'm on record that I will be on board.
They should
for
bring
more of that.
Franklin back and have him have like a fucking tank, like a mech that he drives around. And he's got
Like
that
a-
fucking
like a
sausage or
James
whatever in his
Cameron.
mouth all the time. Yeah.
Smoking a fucking the world's biggest cigar like it's from a fucking cartoon.
Get away from her, you bitch. I mean, sign me up. I'd be there.
Or just sell it to Jason Blum, and let's just combine all of them.
Hey, we had the same pitch, and then you gave me a bunch of shit because I wanted to throw Ghostface in the mix.
No, because Ghostface is perfect for now.
Yeah. More people are being cast in Scream 6. I saw something about Emma Roberts today. I don't know if it was true, but somebody was saying Emma Roberts.
She's dead.
Are they gonna have another
Allegedly.
Sibling? Are they gonna have another sibling that sees their sibling or son or daughter or some shit?
Weird.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah, but that's all I got for Chop Talk. So,
Cool.
Yeah, it was kind of a dry news week, but we had a lot of other stuff to discuss, so I didn't think I really needed to go crazy with the news.
I thought it was perfect. Just
Thanks.
the right amount of spice, and we're going to move straight into trivia.
That Christmas House of Wax, the fog, piranha. It's one of those, right? Right?
All right, John.
The
Anthony-
hills
Anthony
are
wants to say
alive with the sound of trivia.
Your trivia tune this week is trivia.
She blinded me with science.
Trivia.
Is that Stephen Miller band?
Stephen Miller. Stephen Millsworth. Is that Abracadabra?
It is Abracadabra. That ties into our episode that we were dropping as a YouTube exclusive, which is on the Black Phone. So check that out if you haven't already.
Because they're going to reach out and grab you.
Yeah, you think they thought
And
about
that's
that?
the name of his van.
The
Just
Abracadabra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, you got it.
Fucking shitty magician. I'm not talking about the Steve Miller band. I don't have any thoughts
We
on
haven't
them.
seen him perform magic, so...
Yeah, that's true. It could be great.
All right, we're playing Pass the Popcorn All Genre Edition. How it's going to work is one of us is going to read a year and a genre, and then the other person guessing has a chance to get 5 points if they rip it from there. Any clue after that gets them one less point. I'll read to John. John, are you going to...
Yeah.
Okay, read to Anthony, and then Anthony back to me.
Yeah, typical fashion.
Wow, all right.
As per usual.
It's like I do it week to week. John, you're coming off a win, so you got a chance for what we like to call a peak streak.
Yeah.
You have a 1995 horror.
95. Horror.
Yes.
That's not fair. You can't have horror. You can't have it.
Go ahead and give me the quote.
We see a deadly sin on every street corner, in every home, and we tolerate it. Well, not anymore.
Come on, baby.
Hit him with the long neck.
So, I mean,
No, long. There you go. It's like this. The old long neck.
It's not usually my bit. I had to practice it a little bit.
That was good. You got there. We got you there.
like I'm like 99% sure, but like I really don't want to fucking rip it and end up.
Yeah, you got to play it safe. We're still early in the game.
Yeah, go ahead and give me the cast just to be on the safe side.
Who do you think the cast is?
I think it's gonna be Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt.
All right, the cast is, you were close, Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman.
7.
That is correct for
3
points.
3
3 points.
3 points. I knew. I just.
Andy Dufresne walked through the 7 deadly sins.
John Noah's the
came
upper
out
hand.
clean on the other
Came
side.
out gluttonous on the other side.
Anthony, you have a 2002 musical film.
I always get these musicals.
It seems like it, yeah.
Yeah.
2002?
2002.
Give me the quote, please.
My client feels that it was a combination of liquor and jazz that led to her downfall.
My client? Let me get a little peeky.
Little sneak peek.
My client feels it was a little bit of liquor and jazz that was her downfall.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That was jazzy.
Yeah, give me the cast.
Renee Zellweger and Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Douglas.
Already off to a bad start because I am drawing a blank.
Dumb Dora was so dumb she drew a blank.
Renee Zellweger and Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the next clue.
The characters are Roxy Hart and Velma Kelly.
Have you seen this?
Yes, I have.
I've not.
I've performed some of the music from it.
I know of it, and I bet you do too.
Oh, I'm sure once I hear it, I'll recognize the name. But yeah, keep going. Keep giving me those clues.
This one will get you there. 2 women find themselves on Murderess Row in 1920s Chicago.
Are you fucking kidding me? Is it Chicago?
Chicago! It literally puts it in the fucking story option.
That's hella dumb. All right.
Have you seen it?
No.
Yeah, me
I didn't even know that's what it was about.
It's actually really good.
Yeah, no,
I thought it was good.
There isn't a reason I haven't seen it outside of just, have to work myself up into the mood to watch a musical. But did not know those people were in it. Did not know that's what it was about. Tone, you got a 2000 action film.
All right, let's have a quote, sir.
Your quote is, once upon a time, there were 3 very different little girls.
2000?
2000 action film.
Charlie's Angels.
It is indeed Charlie's Angels.
Nice. I watched that for no reason like 2 weeks ago. I was like, I'm going to watch Charlie's Angels.
Because you were in a Drew Barrymore mood.
I must have been, yeah. I'm always in the fucking Drew Barrymore.
The old Drew mood.
All right, that puts me at 4.
I'm
John
usually
at
in
3,
more of a Cameron Diaz mood.
and Anthony at 1. I used to be when I was a kid because she was in The Mask.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, she made me turn into that wolf. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Not going to do that.
Pretty much.
I'm
All
above
right.
it.
John, in a turn of events, you have a 1996 horror.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Give me the quote, please.
If my eye roll didn't give it away.
Never say who's there. Don't you watch scary movies? That's a death wish. Sorry, it's a death wish.
Is that Scream?
Yeah, you fuck.
Scream.
How the fuck?
How does he get 2 horrors in a row? We're playing regular past the popcorn.
And those two.
Your guess is as good as mine.
All right, 4 points for you.
If his next card's The Thing, I quit.
Anthony, you have a 2001 drama film.
Okay. Give me that first clue, please.
Well, he don't have any outstanding appeals, so it looks like we're definitely gonna do it tonight.
Whew.
The next one will get you there.
What was the genre?
Drama.
From 2001?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Give me the next clue, please.
Billy Bob Thornton and Halle Berry.
Is that Monsters Ball?
It is Monsters Ball. Good job.
I just know that they have a very, very extended fuck scene in that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
And then she did Catwoman, so her career was on an upward trajectory, huh?
Hey,
I think
man.
you have an easier road ahead of you from that card.
Billy Bob Thornton is
A fucking weirdo?
a hunk of burning bad Santa.
Yeah, he seems like he just is a dirtbag, but in the best way.
It's so weird seeing him in movies where he's not playing that kind of character, though, from like his earlier career, when he's like actually playing a role.
Well, he was great in the Fargo show.
Yeah, I loved him in that. Good call. So we're gonna throw you a little curveball here with a 1975 musical. It's not a curveball at all.
All right. Trying to give me the
Yeah, just ask for it.
quote.
Yeah, you want that quote?
Yes.
It's let us do the time warp again.
Wow. That's easy. I will say the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, you didn't want to hear the characters of Dr. Frankenfurter and Riff Raff? Yep, you got it, dude.
Rest in peace, Mr. Loaf.
Loaf?
Meatloaf, he passed away.
Oh, I thought you were about to tell me that Tim Curry passed away.
No.
I thought he did.
No, he just had a stroke.
Oh.
Yeah, so he's all wheelchair bound.
Well, all right. John, you're at 7. 7. Just like that movie. Anthony, you are at
Seventh
4. and I'm at a gentleman's 8.
The Ocho.
The Ocho. John, you got a 2006 action movie.
2006 action. Going to give me the quote, please.
Okay. Eat hearty, for tonight we dine in hell.
Is that The 300?
I'll give it to you. That's 300.
Yeah.
Bottleneck. You got a bottleneck.
Got a bottleneck, dude.
I just fucking, just like the Manchurian Candidate, just like, ooh.
I feel like the bad guy.
That's what those fucking 300 did at Thermopolis.
Like that bad guy in that movie. What is it? Like Xerxes or something?
Xerxes, yeah.
It looks like one of the characters from Street Fighter. The one that's like,
Dawson.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, he totally does. Yeah.
Anthony, you have a 92 drama.
Ooh, that's the year I was born, and that's the real drama. Give me that first clue, please.
That's easy for you to say. You're Mr. White. You have a cool sounding name.
Reservoir Dogs?
It is indeed Reservoir Dogs.
Reservoir Dogs. That's the movie that he should make, is that Vega Brothers movie that he kept talking about making.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Travolta's now, like, warped into something that is only a faint memory of what he used to be. All right, Tone, you get a 2003 action film.
Okay. Quote, please.
Your quote is, "This is my finest sword. If on your journey you should encounter God, God will be cut."
Kill Bill.
Oh, nailed it. 2 Tarantinos in a row.
Yeah. Back-to-back Tarantino's.
Like, dude, I know that.
Tarantino's Pizza
But
Rolls.
who made a sword cool?
And look, I'm barefoot in honor of Mr. Tarantino.
Hey, don't.
And we're yellow?
Hey, don't, make sure that we save those. We don't give out feet for free.
Oh, yeah, that's a Patreon tier, huh?
Yeah. Or what's that other shit? OnlyFans?
Only feet.
All right, John, you got 11. Anthony, you're at 8. And I am at 12. Your next clue or card here, John, is a 1999 comedy.
99 comedy. Give me the quote, please.
When I got into family therapy, this was not the family I had in mind. Interested? Not interested? Somewhat interested?
Okay.
I think you may have guessed this recently.
I can neither confirm nor deny that, you son of a bitch.
I'm gonna take the cast though.
Robert De Niro and Billy Crystal.
Yeah, it's Analyze This.
Yes. I wouldn't have given it to you. I said that.
Yeah.
Couldn't have done it.
And they don't
You
do
could get with this, or you could
they
get
don't
with
do
that.
fucking sequels on these cards most of the time.
Oh, I see. Yeah, but I don't know which one's which.
Yeah, neither do I. This or that.
Yeah. But I'll take 3 on that.
Yeah, you
I can barely keep track of which thing is this thing.
Anthony, you have a 2008 fantasy film.
Okay, I think I can get a fantasy. Give me that first clue, though.
Tagline: He's saving the world, whether we like it or not.
Let me see.
Hancock.
It is Hancock.
Nice. I heard, and I don't remember if we talked about this during our Matrix rewatch, that Will Smith was supposed to be Neo, but turned
Yeah.
it down to make Wild Wild West.
Yeah. And I think he's said in hindsight that he greatly
Regrets that
regrets
choice.
that decision. Yeah. But I mean, you never know how that shit's going to pan out. Like, you hear something like The Matrix pitched to you, and it probably sounds pretty fucking weird. And I mean, Wild Wild West is
Pretty fucking weird.
yeah, but a bit more conventional sounding, where it's like, we're gonna make a western that's got like some steampunk stuff to
Yeah.
it, and like, yeah, that movie ended up being garbage, but on paper, I'm think I could see how Wild Wild West might look like a better opportunity. But
And I don't think that he would have been able to do a rap song for The Matrix.
yeah, he could have done something.
001.
He could rap over that Rage Against the Machine song
Oh, there you go.
that they end the movie with. All right, Tone, you got a 1994 drama film.
Fuck. All right.
You'll
Go-
be fine.
Go ahead and give me the
Don't
quote.
sweat it. Your quote is, Mama always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get.
I like the one that's filled with toothpaste. Forrest Gump.
It is indeed the Gump.
Yeah, I wish it would have been like, you ain't got no legs, Lieutenant Dan.
You doing a little gumping? You doing a little gumping?
I love you, Johnny.
All right, John, you're at 14. Right? How many points did you get in the last one?
3.
Okay, yeah. Anthony, you're at 12, and I am at 16.
Wow.
grandmother.
As long as John doesn't get a streak.
Damn.
John, your next one is a 1990 sci-fi.
90s science fiction.
No, it was specifically on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Give me the quote, please.
You're nothing. You're nobody. You're a stupid dream, while all dreams come to an end.
Why do all good things come to an end? Flames to dust, lovers to friends. Why do all
Interesting,
good dreams
interesting.
come to an end?
Go ahead and give me the cast.
All right, you got Arnold Schwarzenegger and Michael Ironside.
Ironside.
Not Steel Bottom, Ironside.
Miguel Stillbot.
Every time I hear his name, I'm like, are you a fucking Transformer, dude? Michael Ironside, roll out.
Did you get new glasses?
No.
Oh.
1990.
Did you do something different with your hair?
Ironside. Michael
Wearing your
Ironside's
dick on the
throwing-
opposite
throwing
side
me
this
off.
week?
You don't know who that is?
I'm pretty sure I know who that is.
Oh, okay.
Did I confuse you with the Transformer thing? Are you thinking about Megatron now?
I think the next one will give it to you. If you want it.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Story's definitely going to give it to you.
I'm gonna take the next clue.
All right, the characters: Douglas Quaid and Martian Administrator Velos Cohagen.
We've covered it on the show.
I want to do the line, but you have to guess the movie first.
It's like, can I just do my own quote?
What's the name of the movie? It's where he goes to Mars.
It's what you need right now.
Yeah. I need to totally recall it. Total recall.
That is correct.
Quaid, stop the reactor.
2 points?
Yes.
I was going to say there's a Rick and Morty episode that is a riff on this
Oh,
title.
really?
Total Recall. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Anthony, you have a 1999 science fiction
All right.
film.
Nice. Give me that first clue, please.
The Oracle told me that I would fall in love. And that man would be the one.
What are the chances that we were just
Pretty
talking
fucking
about The Matrix? We live in a simulation. It's The Matrix, right?
It is indeed the Matrix.
All right, for 4Z.
Regurgitations. All right, Tone. This is the make it or break it.
We still have another round.
I know.
Oh.
I'm just trying to put the pressure on, trying to make you sweat. You get a 2007 drama film.
All right, I'll take a quote.
The quote is, "There's a whole ocean of oil under our feet. No one can get it except for me."
Well, shit. You know that just off that?
Hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah, brother.
Really?
Hell yeah.
A whole ocean of oil under our feet?
Under our little feetsies. It's olive oil.
I think he gets there from the cast, for sure.
Oh.
I'll have to take the cast.
It is Paul Thomas Anderson, director, Daniel Day-Lewis.
Oh, okay. There Will Be Blood?
I drink your milkshake.
I've never seen it.
It is a fucking fantastic movie.
Mm-hmm. I
Love There Will Be Blood.
milkshake.
I drunk it up.
Is it
Paul
so-
Dano playing 2 different characters in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. So John, you're at 16. Anthony, you're at 18 now,
Oh shit!
and I'm at 19. So that's a tight
My,
one.
how the turntables have turned.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, they have.
Does that seem right?
I think you might have. Did you take 3 points in the last one?
Yeah.
Yeah, then we're good.
Okay. John, you got a 1997 drama.
You said 97.
Yes.
Give me the quote, please.
I'm the king of the world.
Titanic.
That is correct. Nice job.
It's better.
The Titanic.
And then you have a 2003 comedy film.
Okay. Give me that quote, please.
Tagline: Growing pains, they've got 12 of them.
Cheaper by the dozen.
That's fucking sick, dude.
Pressure's on.
Oh, how many points? 4?
4, 4.
4. All right, Tone. You have a 2006 drama film.
I need 3 points to beat him. Tie him? To tie him?
3 points to tie, 4 points to win.
Okay. Fuck. All right. No, just say the thing. Top.
2006 drama
Okay.
film.
Quote me.
Your quote is: each magic trick consists of 3 parts or acts. The first part is called the pledge.
Okay, it's obviously that movie with Paul Giamatti and Edward Norton.
Yeah.
The Prestige.
A prestige dosage of a tangerine. Yeah, it was really hard for me not to read that quote in his accent, but yes, you got it. The prestige.
Congrats. That got real tight there at the end.
For the win, yeah. John, you were at 20. Anthony, you finished with 22, and I finished with the old Jordan.
Jordan. Well,
Right?
you know,
Is that right? Yeah. Was he 23?
yeah, I put in a fight, and I was off to a bad start there, so I was feeling good by
a
the
little
end.
comeback action.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Don't call it that.
You guys did real well.
Thanks.
That's going to wrap it up for trivia. I was going to say that if you like trivia, we have bonus episodes, but we don't. We do have bonus episodes about other shit, though.
I mean, if you go to Patreon,
There's still
there's a plethora.
a plethora.
There's a
Porcelain Peak plethora.
There's a cornucopia of trivia
A
episodes.
smorgasbord even of trivia episodes if you want to
starting
check
to get
those
to
out.
Templeton territory.
That's so funny because that's always what I think about when I say that word. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably makes sense. Anyway, there are trivia bonus episodes over on Patreon, but there are also one that we did this week for the Umbrella Academy. So if you're like, hey, you guys do something fucking different, we are. And that is
Mixing
it.
it up, yeah,
Covering
and-
that.
You can leave us alone for a little while because
Don't
we're changing
tell
things
me
up.
what to do.
You're not
Let me be
my mom.
And then we're going to play some ads and some other shit. So we'll see you after the break.
Head on over to patreon.com/Porcelain Peak for hours and hours of additional content, merch, and more. For $5 a month you get access to our weekly trivia bonus episodes, where we write each other new quizzes for every episode. For $10 you get access to our monthly /Terpiece theater commentary tracks, where we crack wise over the top of movies for your enjoyment, alongside a monthly print designed by Anthony Silva. For $20 you can join our producer tier, where you will get early access to our episodes, a t-shirt every 6 months, and the ability to help us come up with ideas for future episodes. All versions of the episode are provided ad-free on Patreon. Again, that's patreon.com/Porcelain Peak to help support the show.
Head on over to porcelainpeakshop.com and purchase some merch to help support the show, or purchase our Horror is for Everyone shirt to support new causes every month. This month we are donating all proceeds from this shirt to GLSEN, because we believe that all students deserve to learn in an environment free from bigoted pieces of shit. Share a picture with your merch on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook and we will give you a shout out on a future episode. Again, that's porcelainpeakshop.com to help support the show and look fly as hell in the process. Thanks to everyone for watching. Now back to Tone, John, and Anthony.
Hey, you want to see something really scary?
Thought my dick was glowing for a second, but it was just my phone lighting up.
I don't know how to come back to that. Welcome back, campers.
Hey, what's up?
For Creature Camp this week, we're diving into some more creature features, this time with The Thing from Another World, The Thing from 1982, and The Thing from 2011.
Yeah, so if you didn't know already that there was a version of The Thing before John Carpenter's, that's fine. I'm sure most people don't know that this was a remake of a 50s movie.
1951 to be exact, with a hour 27 runtime, if that interests you. Like
right in that sweet spot.
Nice little shorty. Yeah.
Based on
one thing you might not know is that the title for The Thing, the really cool John Carpenter one, if you haven't seen this one, is from this.
Yeah.
Oh,
His is just better.
Yeah. Based on a short story called Who Goes There, which is a cool title. I wish at some point in this franchise of movies they had used Who Goes There as one of the titles. I guess that'll
be the new, like, unique vision.
Yeah.
When they
a
remake
unique
it again.
vision and terror. Eli Roth's Who Goes There.
Anyway, this one was directed by Christian Nyby, and also Howard Hawks, but he was uncredited. And then the writer of the story was John Campbell Jr., Howard Hawks also uncredited for writing the movie, and Charles Leader was the writer on this film. Some of the bit players, Kenneth Tobey as Captain Patrick, Margaret Sheridan as Nikki Nicholson, James Arness as the Ting.
I think her middle name was Jack.
yeah,
Nikki Jack Nicholson.
Jackie. And Robert Corthwaite as Dr. Arthur Carrington. I'm just going to stop there.
So a bunch of people you don't know who are probably dead now.
Pretty much, yeah. And so, I mean, it basically follows a very similar idea. Something crash lands to Earth. These people, in this case, aren't already in the Arctic, where they go to the North Pole, right?
Yeah.
And so they're in Alaska. They go to the North Pole, and then they're like, hey, something fell down. We're going to go check it out. And then they Encino Man this fucking guy.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought too. I was hoping that Brendan Fraser would come out.
I know. I was like, yeah, dude, you really are a blast from the past. And that's as far as I got into it. So you guys will have to fill in the rest of the gaps for me.
Oh, you didn't watch this?
I did not finish it.
Okay,
I got through. I only had like 20 minutes left.
Well, what I will say about this is that it, much like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, reminded me of an extended Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah, but it's very bog standard 50s creature feature.
Yeah, so all of those elements I think are not the strongest parts of the movie, but I will say that the thing that I enjoyed the most about this is the writing, whether that comes down to Howard Hawks or one of the other writers. I think that the characters are really well developed in this movie, and it kind of surprised me how much I was into what was going on, because I knew this was going to be more of like a military comes in to handle the situation sort of thing, and so I wasn't really super excited for the camaraderie between the characters in comparison to the John Carpenter version, where that's obviously a huge part of the movie and the way those characters interplay with each other. But I really enjoyed it in this. I thought that everybody had like really quick, really funny dialogue where I was cracking up for a lot of the movie. And I think that it does a really good job of I don't know how they made these sets or how they were put together or where they filmed, but it looks, for at the time, pretty impressive set design. It reminded me a lot, obviously, of John Carpenter's The Thing, which was nice. The weakest part of the movie, I think, is the creature itself.
Yeah, it's
pretty much
like
just
Swamp Thing almost.
Yeah, it looks like they just, I said, a Party City Frankenstein costume that they put on this guy once he comes out. Luckily, like they do in the John Carpenter version, up to a point, they keep the monster kind of ambiguous and in shadows for most of this movie, and there's only a couple times when you really see its full form, and I think it worked better that way because you still get the buildup of paranoia in this movie that you get in the other films, just done in a much more like 50s
style.
50s, like we found an alien. And I did like the scientist character, who is very much like, we got to not kill this thing because science, it's an alien and we have to learn from it. And then when he, spoiler alert, does go to confront this alien, it fucking backhands him hella hard against the wall. And yeah, it was pretty dope.
I
liked
thought
his
it was
character.
hilarious that he was like, that's a highly intelligent carrot. It's like we evolved from animals. On this planet, they evolved from
And
vegetables.
that's the exact comment that John Carpenter had when he said, I want to make sure that my creature is not a man in a suit, is he was like, yeah, in the original, it was just a fucking blood-sucking carrot. So he's like, I didn't want to do that again. I did like that this isn't part of the original story, so they introduced this whole, like, plant element to the creature, and I did like some of the things they did to it with it, where like they had the bulbs that were planted, and they're showing that when they're feeding it the plasma from the blood, the ones toward the center are like growing and pulsating, and I was like, how the fuck did they do that effect? Like, did they have tubes going up underneath and like blowing air in, or how did they do that? Because it looked really cool. So I liked that they kind of added their own mythology to kind of explain how the creature works. When they take skin samples, they talk about how they can see like seed pods on the skin. Remind me a lot of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. But yeah, that kind of like plant alien life form type of thing was interesting. Just the actual execution of how the creature looked was obviously very limited by its budget.
Yeah. I felt like the dialogue is what saves a lot of these characters, because they are very boilerplate characters. Like, super generic, like, grabbed that, like, you got your military man, you got the love interest, you've got the scientist who tries to go too far with it. You know, like, it's very, very, you know, like, just standard characters. But the dialogue elevates them enough to make it an enjoyable watch. And like you said, it does have that very Twilight Zone-esque quality to it that makes it kind of feel like you're wrapping up in a warm blanket.
The ending felt very like Twilight Zone, with the guy in the sitting at the microphone, the reporter, going like, "Attention world, like, look to the skies, more aliens might be coming, look to the skies." And it's like, whoo, the
Sounds
end.
very 50s.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, watch out for them aliens, they're bad eggs.
Bad plant eggs.
Yeah.
I think for me it was tough because I know we just did this very similar thing with The Fly, but even more specifically with the Body Snatchers, and I had no familiarity or very little familiarity with either of those stories. And so going into the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers, I was like, oh, this is super dope, but I don't know this story well enough or the remake well enough for it to have any kind of influence on the way I feel about it. This, on the other hand, The Thing is collectively one of our favorite movies.
Yeah.
And so it's hard. It was difficult for me to get really sucked in.
Yeah.
Because I was like, yeah, this is cool. And I was just like, okay, yeah, John Carpenter kind of did, the aerial shots seemed very similar in ways. And obviously the setting, but I was like, it's just, I needed the gruesomeness and I wanted The Thing. Like,
Yeah.
So.
When you've been spoiled by, because really when you hear The Thing, the first image that pops into your head is the creature, like the mate, you know, heads coming out of shit and tentacles and all that. And when that's completely absent from the movie, it's hard for it to feel like it's a The Thing movie.
Yeah,
you know.
But kudos to John Carpenter and whoever wrote the remake, just for what they were able to take the ideas and then update them, obviously.
Yeah,
and make them great.
Yeah,
but I mean, we'll get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think even down to the title of this movie is just like, you can tell. I mean, this is really what a lot of these stories, the kind of treatment they got. I think it's really cool that this story has been adapted more than once, because it would have been kind of sad if this cool story about this thing that like imitates people and infiltrates and creates paranoia had really been relegated to what they could do with a 50s budget. Because even down to the title, The Thing from Another World, like, it doesn't roll off the tongue, and it's very 50s, like, you know, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, you know, all of that stuff feels very like, yeah, just like 50s Twilight Zone, and it's campy, and yeah, the creature is laughable, but I think that if you really just kind of, for me, it was just all in the dialogue that was enjoyable, and I liked the characters. I liked that there was a woman in the movie, and that she wasn't purely the love interest. She had like some other things to do. It was cool to see, and then I think that the thing that ended up being the most rewarding was seeing what things got carried over from this into John Carpenter's movie, and then what things got carried over from this into the 2011 version, because there are a lot of parallels and things that they obviously were trying to homage. But even down to like the dogs freaking out, that's an element that really just plays through like all of the movies, and there's just little elements that it's cool to see these movies, you know, being remade 30, 40 years apart from each other.
Yeah.
So I appreciated it on that level. I don't think it comes anywhere near the quality of John Carpenter's movie, but I still gave it, if I had to rate it, I still gave it, I think, like a 3.5. I liked it more than Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I had a better time with it, and that may just be because I really fucking dig the setting of all the Thing movies.
It still feels claustrophobic because of the way that it's set. I do feel like it does fall into the 50s pitfall of Hollywood science fiction had a rubric, and it always stuck very close to the rubric.
Yeah.
It has like just a little veneer painted on the outside to make it something that was different enough to make it work. But like you said, the characters and the acting and the camaraderie, well, like not necessarily camaraderie, but like the connection between some of the characters helped to carry it some, and it's still enjoyable. And I love seeing, like you said, where the, you know, the progenitor of what we got in 1982 comes from, and I think that it serves that purpose very well. I think it's probably a 3 for me. But I said I still had a good time with it. It's hard to stack up.
Removed from the context of the story and the rest of the other movies, it does feel very like straightforward, no frills sci-fi. Yeah, like even down to the alien design and everything. So yeah, I agree on that front. That like, yeah, if you remove it from the other context and everything, it does feel kind of boring by the numbers.
Do you guys think that having seen John Carpenter's The Thing enhances the experience or takes away from the experience of watching this after?
That's a tough question.
All right, we'll take a bit.
I think it's a little both. I think that it enhances because you get to see a lot of the through lines that just make it seem more potent what Carpenter was able to put on screen and the things he was able to change to really take it up to the next level. But it also detracts because you have this
masterpiece.
This masterpiece, this classic. That you have to compare it against, and it's like, well, it doesn't hit nearly the same highs. It doesn't have a lot of lows, but it kind of ends up living in the middle, which is frustrating at times.
I do like the separation between this version and John Carpenter's, where you can I like what we've been doing with comparing these like 50s movies to largely like 80s sci-fi movies, where you get to see like, yes, that worked really well as a 50s sci-fi movie, and in the context of a 50s sci-fi movie, I think it works great.
Right.
And then you see what they were able to do with a bigger budget in the 80s, and then that doesn't translate as well. But I do think all three of these movies are a good a good look into this is what horror is like at this time. Like even The Thing 2011 is very much like, this is what horror is like at that time. It's all CG crazy creatures and everything like that.
We'll get into that.
Yeah, but it was an interesting experiment getting to see three different time periods separated by about 20 to 30 years in between. I do like kind of seeing that trajectory of how the medium has changed and how it's evolved and grown. Like the sci-fi medium really started extremely small and niche, and now has grown into our second or our tied favorite genre with horror, and a lot of people, love.
Well, in this case, both.
Both, yeah.
Yeah, both of
them.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, we want to get into Carpenters?
Always. Yeah.
All right, so patrons, and if you're not a patron and you want to be, we have an episode where we did a commentary on this, and it was rad.
Yeah. One of the more fun commentaries that we've done, because it was a movie that I think we all just really, really adore, and so it was fun to just be like, that's fucking cool. That's super tight. Like that a lot.
Yeah, and one thing we tried to do during that commentary was try to figure out why this movie tanked financially upon release, and we tried to be objective.
Yeah.
As much as possible when we watched it.
Comment that I do want to make really quick regarding that commentary track is, as you predicted, Steven did listen to it, and he messaged me this morning and said that he was mortified that we didn't say Lord of the Rings as an example of a perfect film trilogy.
Oh, shit.
And as soon as he said it, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? That's the perfect example.
Yeah.
Is those three movies. But anyway, thank you, Steven, for calling us out on our bullshit. Always appreciate that. But outside of that commentary where we go into a lot of trivia about the movie and everything. So really, if you want to hear like our in-depth thoughts on this movie,
random trivia about the Little Mermaid,
then go check out that commentary. But yeah, like you said, when this movie came out, it was not well received critically and tanked financially. And as we discussed in the commentary, John Carpenter had a studio deal where he was supposed to make several more movies after that. We talked previously about how he was supposed to direct Firestarter after this, and that did not materialize because of how poorly this movie did. But this is John Carpenter's favorite movie of his, he's said. I think it's a lot of people's favorite movie outside of Halloween, maybe. I go back and forth between which of those movies is my favorite.
I was thinking about that when you mentioned that on the during the commentary, and I was like, I don't know. Like, I love Halloween, but the thing is so fucking good, and I get so much enjoyment out of it.
Yeah.
For different reasons, though. But let's do some background real quick. Obviously, directed by John Carpenter. The writer in this case was Bill Lancaster, starring frequent Carpenter collaborator Kurt Russell as Mac McCready, Wilford Brimley as Dr. Diabetes.
The diabetes.
Keith David as Childs.
In his feature film debut,
Richard
which would go on to
Mosser
spawn
as Clark, and then we get some other characters, but those are kind of the main ones.
Yeah. And so the basic premise of this is that some dudes, I think 12 dudes, are all working at now in the South Pole this time around. We flipped the script. in the Antarctic,
Tell
working
they
at
get
a
you.
research base. The movie opens with a helicopter of Norwegian folks who are basically spoiling the whole fucking movie for you if you speak Norwegian, chasing after a dog, trying to shoot it, and we don't know why at the beginning. The dog ends up having some contact with the people at the base, and shit goes awry because it turns out that it ain't just no regular dog, it's a ting.
Yeah.
And unlike the 50s version, this thing is not just a big Party City Frankenstein. This is instead a wonderfully executed Rob Bottin Stan Winston series of practical effects where this thing can assimilate and copy a person and infiltrate a group of humans, which is just fucking scary. And again, ties into Invasion of the Body Snatchers and the Pod People, so another recurring sci-fi element.
Some of the best body horror put to screen, period.
Some of the best practical, like, crazy fucking how did they do that practical effects?
Yeah, animatronics and like
I would say this is
really
like
neat.
next to The Fly in terms of like some of the most incredible effects work I've ever seen. I think if you're really looking for body horror outside of Cronenberg, like this is one of the only other movies to go to, because Cronenberg kind of has a monopoly on the great, really well executed body horror, and this is a film that, and I mean Rob Bottin worked, you know, until he was in the hospital with exhaustion to try to make this happen. John Carpenter and Kurt Russell's biggest complaints about this film were that they could not get beer delivered out to the set while they were filming. They were out on the remote
exactly
set.
like something both of them would say.
Yeah, but Ennio Morricone does the music for this movie, which
Very
is
Carpenter-esque.
very Carpenter-esque. But yeah, I mean, did other great work in spaghetti westerns with Sergio Leone, and he has recently passed away. So R.I.P. Ennio Morricone. But this is a great fucking soundtrack. Lots of brooding synthesizer, just like boom boom. Boom, boom,
Ooh,
boom, boom.
I got chills just from that.
Yeah.
It's so good. Everything about this movie, and I wanted to try and find something I didn't like, and I just really don't understand where the hate came from. I guess just at the time it was too much.
Well, I know that Ebert went on record saying that he thought that it was gruesome and disgusting for no reason, and he felt like none of the characters had like real qualities to them, which I vehemently disagree with. I think that what is really captured in this, and I think that one of the things that makes it shine over the 2011 version and even over the original version, is that it's all a bunch of characters that are together because they work together, but they live in solitude. Like they're all
going through their own shit.
Yeah, they're all alone together, which creates like a, oh, I know you, but I don't like really know you kind of quality. So it makes it very easy for it all to go sideways and for them to start picking at each other the way that they do.
They're friendly, but they're not friends.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are the
like
definition of acquaintances.
I think we all know those people we work with where we're like, yeah, if it turned out you were an alien imposter, I would flamethrower you in a second.
Yeah.
You know, those people where you're like, yeah, I mean, we're not that close. With you guys, I'd have a bit harder time, you know, pulling the trigger on that flamethrower, but
You would have to, you'd still do it.
Well, yeah,
But it would affect you.
I'm not letting you guys infect the rest of the world. I have, you know, bigger things that I got to think about. But yeah, once this thing starts infecting people, the paranoia skyrockets through the roof. We get lots of people going, oh, you're the thing because of this reason. And they're all trying to figure out some sort of reliable way to tell whether someone is an alien or not.
And that's kind of where the movie shines, is the paranoia and the build-up, and you don't know. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
So they are acting as the audience just as much as we are.
Yeah, and that's where I was also confused about like people's reaction to this movie at the time, because I feel like even without the amazing creature effects, this movie works on the level of just being a really great claustrophobic isolation paranoia story, and kind of a bunch of dudes losing their minds, and that stuff all shines really brightly despite all the stuff, and then the creature effects are just an awesome icing on everything else. And so it kind of, I think, just confused all of us, and probably confuses most people these days, because it is such a, you know, cult classic to really just being a classic at this point.
And Shout Factory or Scream Factory or whichever.
Shout Factory.
Yeah, I think one is the other. But they did a HD 4K transfer, and it's gorgeous.
Yeah, I have the Steelbook. I want to say it was a gift from probably one of the two of y'all.
Yeah, I think I got it for you. But
yeah, so it's the Steelbook, and it has the 4K cut of it from 2017, which is
so good.
Fantastic. I have
not some fucking Fathom event shit.
And then it has a 2011 cut that was done, I think, like in the lead up to the prequel coming out. That was a 2K, so a 1440p cut of it. I haven't watched that one, but I'm pretty sure that's the one where they didn't have the rights to that song that they play.
Oh, Superstitious.
Yeah, they didn't have the rights to Stevie Wonder's Steve Wonder.
Yeah.
That's a throwback.
Yeah.
They didn't have the rights to his song, so they didn't have it, I think, in that particular cut. But they were able to get it back for the 4K cut in 2017, which is the version that we watched.
And I mentioned that too because the transfer and the way that it looks, partnered with the practical effects, this movie still holds up so fucking well. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, like we picked out a couple parts where the effects looked a little bit goofy.
But even that,
but
is just
even
like,
that was like
because we're
us
trying
nitpicking.
to find it.
Yeah, because we were like, okay, we can't find any really other problems with this movie. And so we're having to nitpick at like, oh, that guy, that kind of looks like a dummy being thrown around the room. But while that dummy's being thrown around the room, people are being lit on fire and shit's flying all over the place.
So
and
it's
like,
not
there's
something
still a million other
and
things
there was
going on.
leagues of tension and paranoia right before that happened. So it's like we were trying to find problems.
Yeah, and we'll get into more of the practical versus CG discussion when we talk about the next film in the list. But I do think that it's not intent on replicating realism.
Yeah.
It's meant to make something that's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like that that's actually real, you know? I think that it does well in making something that's so over the top and ridiculous that it's grotesque and that it scares the shit out of you because you don't know who it could be.
Yeah.
And I think that that's where this movie shines. Like I said, like you were saying before, it's just the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
good. Yeah, I mean, we could keep ranting and raving about this movie. We all love this movie.
The blood scene is fantastic.
So good. So good. X-Files did it.
Yeah.
I feel like none of the paranoia, none of like the reveals as to who's been infected feel like rug pulls. I feel like they all are just like genuine, like out of left field, but makes sense.
And there's fun little games you can play, like we were doing with the blood scene, where it's like, oh, he's got light in his eyes. He's got light in his eyes.
Yeah.
Because I had read that trivia about like, oh, they put like a pen light in the eyes of the actors, like so you could tell who was who, and just so many little details like that. Or like I was talking about that shadow in the beginning when the dog goes into the room, and how I said that John Carpenter hadn't used any of the actors in the cast because he didn't want you to know who was. It was the thing at the beginning, like who was involved. So just like so many details and things that really just like that make it so that there are no real weak links in the movie. So yeah. I mean,
I think in addition to that, there is this ambiguity toward what the thing really looks like, what its purpose is, right, and then what really happens at the end. Outside of maybe some video game facts that is whatever, but looking at it self-contained into this, we don't really know, and that seems, at least at this point, kind of a theme with Carpenter. Like, we don't really know anything about Michael Myers.
Yeah.
And so
The mystery adds so much value.
Exactly. It's scarier. I think they talk about it in Scream, right? It's scarier when you don't know why Michael Myers wants to kill or why Hannibal Lecter eats people.
Yeah, because
like,
we
this
could
is
get
scary.
all this backstory about the alien, but it's much more interesting to have it just like start sprouting legs and throwing tentacles and make you think like, where did this thing come from? What does it look like? Like, yeah. But yeah, it's a 5 for me.
Yeah,
So.
it's a 5, whatever you want to call it. Like I said, I even for maybe some of the the dated effects that are
5
sprinkled
bottles
in.
of J&B.
Yeah. 5. Well, yeah, fuck you twos. It's perfect. Like I said, it's perfect.
That's what I said when Apple put that fucking U2 album on my phone without me asking. Yeah, well, fuck you too.
The age of innocence, baby.
I googled how to get that shit off. I was like, I don't care if it's free. Get it out of here.
Flamethrower.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's why I have an iPhone 7.
I think that it perfectly encapsulates what I want from a horror film, perfectly encapsulates what I want from a science fiction film, and melds the two together in a way that I don't know if another horror sci-fi has done since.
I would say my only other close comparison would be Alien.
Yeah.
Coming out a little bit before this, and yeah, I mean, say what you will about how these movies are similar in some respects, but I think that they hold up on their own. I could watch Alien a million times over. I could watch The Thing a million times over and probably never get bored.
Back to back and fucking have a fantastic evening.
What a great double feature.
Double feature.
So, I think what people are probably more interested in hearing us talk about is 2011's The Thing, a sequel of sorts, a remake / prequel to the original movie. I know that the creators of this said that they did not want to do John Carpenter a disservice by making a straight up remake. That's why they wanted to do a prequel. And the reason that this is called The Thing is that they could not for the life of them think of a title, like a subtitle to this, that would make it not sound dumb. They were like, we call it The Thing Begins. And they were like, we can't think of anything, so we'll just call it The Thing.
Oh, and who goes there?
I wonder if that's one of the first instances of them reusing the
It's got to be
title.
very early, yeah.
Yeah.
For without actually reusing the plot.
like Scream and
Yeah, before it
Candyman
became
and
just like
Halloween.
what
For the
everything
most
does
part, they
now.
don't reuse the plot for the most part.
For the
All
most-
right, so this one, holy cow,
You seen that director's name? Yeah.
Matt. Oh, what? Yeah.
Pass it on over.
Go ahead, buddy.
Casanova. So it is. It's Matthias van Heiningen Jr.
Okay.
Okay. Take your word for it, John. And he's the director, written by obviously Campbell again for the story, and Eric Heiser. I'm not even kidding.
No, it's Eric Heiser.
Heiser. And then we got Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Hell yeah.
Ramona.
Yep. Joel Edgerton.
Love it.
Yeah, we're talking about him in two different things.
Yeah, I know. I
Weird.
realized that when I was watching The Thing last night.
Ulrich Thompson as Dr. Sander. Adam Finch is played by Eric Christian Olsen, which I recognize from stuff.
Yeah.
I think he was big in the early 2000s.
He's the surfer-looking dude?
Yeah.
No
And that's as far as I'll get into that.
Yeah, so I think...
I will be honest with you guys, I did not get a chance to watch it this round. I've seen it once in theaters, and I remember it being very similar in plot, like almost the same thing.
Yeah, so...
Almost the same thing.
I think the easiest thing for me to do will be to just briefly talk about the things that I really do like about this movie, because then the rest of it's just going to be complaining about how it's not as good as John Carpenter's, and
correct me if
everybody
I'm
knows that
wrong,
already.
they made everything practical.
They did. So the company's called ADI. They made all of it through animatronics, and they talked this movie up, including the director, for months and months during the shooting process of this, talking about how they were staying true to Carpenter's vision, and they were making everything practical. And then the studio stuck their big fucking feet into the middle of it,
And that's
said,
the story of this entire movie, which will not surprise you if you've seen it, which is this could have been a great movie, and the studio was like, nope.
Here's some PS2 shiny ass graphics.
Yeah,
Have
so they were
fun
like,
with
you're
that
going
shit."
to CG all of the animatronics, which all of the...
So they did it on top of what was already there?
So
seeing the effects, they look dope. They did a great
so
job.
the special effects team said that they had a bit of postpartum depression after the movie came out because none of their work really got showcased, and they felt like they could have just sat at home and drawn the designs up and sent them in and had them done, which is why the visual effects director is the guy who went off to make that movie Harbinger Down as like a way to use practical effects to do
So they did
a
through
thing
Kickstarter, right?
Yeah.
And that movie, they didn't make nearly enough money to get the budget they needed to do the effects justice. But there are, so from what I've seen from screenshots and from some occasional scenes, there are some great effects in that. But it's very much played to be a campy B movie, and not all of the effects work as well.
And the studio also heavily changed the ending of this movie, which I'll talk about a little bit.
Yeah, hit us with what you liked.
Yeah, so things that I liked. I really, really like the commitment that this movie takes to being a prequel to John Carpenter's The Thing. There is so much attention to the set design, where the base is made to look as close as possible to the Norwegian base that they find, which happens to also be the American base, because in John Carpenter's The Thing, they just reused the burned down American base to then film the Norwegian base that they find. So it all fucking loops together in a weird mishmash. But they used Kurt Russell's height as a metric to measure how big they should make and scale everything in the set, because there were no blueprints that existed, and they constantly kept screen grabs of the original Thing so that they could make sure that all the details were exactly where they needed to go.
Wow.
And so the movie sets up things like the dude in the chair with his wrist slit and his throat slit or whatever, sets that up. He's a character in this movie. Sets up the axe that they find in the door that happens in the movie, and they make sure that that's a point. They set up literally leading everything up to the dog being chased by the plane. The guys in the helicopter are characters in this movie. So that's something that I really liked, is that it really does... You can tell that they had a lot of affection for John Carpenter's The Thing. They weren't just trying to go out and remake the movie straight up. So that's stuff that I really, really enjoy. I do think that the setting still works really well. I think that the way that this is shot, it reminded me of something like 30 Days of Night, like that kind of those super blue, kind of like dark, snow-lit things. I think some of the moments with the creature are pretty harrowing, like when he fucking like sucks in the face of the other dude, and the dude's like screaming. It reminded me of like Color Out of Space when they like when the kid and the mom merged together. I was like skeeved out when that happened. What I ended up doing about halfway through this movie, and it made it probably 10 times more enjoyable, is I went to my TV's settings and I put this baby in black and white. And let me tell you, it's a missed situation if I ever did see one, because the setting works wonderfully in black and white. All the flamethrowers and the flares look fucking gorgeous in black and white, and the effects are pretty fucking scary in black and white. And then as soon as I put it back in color and they showed the first like thing running around all CG with shit flying out of it, I was like, nope, and put it back in black and white and was like, that's how I'm watching the rest of the movie.
There are some movies that just work like that. Like The Mist.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there was a big push. And like
the effects in this reminded me so much of the effects in The Mist that's what gave me the idea about halfway through this to go like, oh, I'm going to put this in black and white and see how it is. I would highly recommend, if you decide to watch this movie for some reason, that you put it in black and white.
I might even give it another shot for that.
Yeah, because I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really cool experience. Outside of that, I think the performances are all right. I like Joel Edgerton. I like Mary Elizabeth Winstead. I don't think that anybody is doing anything remarkable, but the one thing also that I want to commend this director and this team on is actually having a largely Norwegian cast and having Norwegian people involved and having that language being spoken, and it really felt like this is a different group of people from John Carpenter's version. And having Mary Elizabeth Winstead be the protagonist, having a female protagonist, they said that they directly tried to rip off Ripley for her character.
Okay. Yeah, well, more alien connections.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, especially when she's carrying around the flamethrower toward the end.
So, what really works for you about this, John?
I think that
nothing.
I think that the setting still works, even with a more modern take on it. I felt like some of the characters were enjoyable to follow. Mary Elizabeth Winstead, I think she's gorgeous. I think that she's a very talented actress, and I think that she plays this part very well. And she's different than MacReady in almost every way. She takes charge in a different roundabout way, and even when she starts talking about what's going on, people don't believe her. Whereas they pretty much take, apart from him saying "I'm not the thing," they take Mac at his word, which I think helps to shine a light on things that women deal with all the fucking time. I feel like Joel Edgerton's character is interesting. He doesn't work all of the time, but I think that he has enough going in some of his scenes, like that he can carry it. He can carry a scene when he needs to, which is great. And I like what they tried with the effects. I think that if they had been the unedited, effects that were designed by ADI, I would have been singing a lot more praises about this movie. I think that the actual creature design, they took it and they turned some of it up to 11. They did some really crazy shit that kind of helps to add more lore. I don't like some of what they did as far as like a power set. I don't know what I would necessarily call it. They made the creature faster, which makes it seem weird by comparison.
Yeah, it's weird that this is a prequel and the creature does so much more different stuff. Like, it's actively, like, eating people and, like, attacking people. And I guess sort of the, like, headcanon explanation for that is that up until it replicates one of the humans from the Norwegian crew, it is just like a wild animal.
Yeah.
And then once it replicates a human and gets human memories, it learns that a better way to attack people is to infiltrate them and cause paranoia. And so it learns from absorbing a person. Okay. And I do like you said, that they explore some of, like, they have the dude, some of the coolest fucking practical effects, and you only really see them in that one scene when they have the dude inside of, like, the
autopsy scene.
Yeah, and they open it up and the dude is being, like, it's showing the formation of a new person, and he's got, like, this translucent skin, and you can see, like, into his muscles and stuff, and they're like, why does his tissue look new if this is, like, him being digested? And they're trying to, and I do like how they kind of, when she's looking at the cells and they see that they're attacking them but then replicating and cloning them, and how they get to, like, realizing what's going on. But the thing does not feel at all the same creature as it does in John Carpenter's, because in John Carpenter's it is a lot of just, like, this one bit will start sprouting, like, a bunch of different stuff. In this, it has, like, it felt like The Mist. It has, like, tentacles with suckers on them, and it has, like, a bunch of, like, every limb that comes off sprouts, like, 100 tentacles and legs and runs all over the place.
Yeah, it felt very Resident Evil 4.
Yeah. Yeah, and it doesn't feel like the same creature. And so I was like, this is kind of making it hard for me to suspend my disbelief that these movies are supposed to be related. Something that this movie does introduced that I liked in this movie, and it's up to you whether you feel like this is going to affect your vision of John Carpenter's, is the idea that the creature cannot replicate synthetic material.
Yeah.
So things like fillings, piercings, it can't replicate. So that's how she's able to check everybody, is she's like, hey, open your mouth and I'll check for fillings. And then the one character has the line like, oh, I'm going to get killed because I floss.
Yeah.
And they bring up like, hey, this isn't a great way to check this out. And then she's able to see that Joel Edgerton's character is no longer Joel Edgerton because he doesn't have his earring anymore. And she remembers seeing it earlier in the film. So a nice little twist there. I liked that. But then if you look back at John Carpenter's The Thing, Childs has his earring in at the end, and if you take these movies as being in the same canon, then that immediately confirms that Childs can't be the Thing because he has a piercing in. So it's really up to you whether you want this movie to be in that same canon, because it does establish some things that go a little bit too far, I think, like when we get into exploring the alien spaceship.
Mm-hmm.
And part of why this feels so lackluster is because it's radically different from the original interpretation, which is that we were going to see that the alien species that was like keeping this zoo of alien creatures had an outbreak of the Thing, and so they're supposed to be all these alien corpses like strewn all over the ship. And when she sees that fucking weird Tetris thing in the center, they literally just placed that there to hide what was supposed to be like a hanging alien with its throat slit. And the studio was like, no, that's too complicated. Take all that out and just put like a Tetris pillar in the middle and don't explain it, and we'll just have a CG guy come in and attack her from over here.
Yeah, the studio interference, I think, is. I'm at this point. I'm ready to start.
I mean, to some extent, can you blame them because of how fucked up the Thing went? Like, they thought they were gonna have a hit. It failed.
I think
financially, and now has cult status. Like, cult status, I don't think means shit to studios.
But by the time this movie was made, it wasn't in that.
Yeah, it's moved past cult status. It moved itself to classic status, which is a completely different
But did they make
territory.
money off of it?
Yes, 100%. They made all of their money back and then some with selling, figurines, with selling DVDs, with selling VHS. They made their money back in the home box office way, way, way more than they would have anticipated based off of what they spent on the film. So
it just seems to me like pressures from like modern horror sensibilities kind of creeping in, and they were playing it for test audiences, and
they hated the ending.
Yeah,
which the ending we got, I'm not mad about. I think that it's still kind of
ambiguous,
has some,
like the John Carpenter one.
It has some somberness to it, where she has to fucking gun down Joel Edgerton.
Yeah,
but I think that if the ending was more bleak or more ambiguous, I would have been happier with that. And then it feels like, as I was watching it with Mrs. Jigsaw, and she was like, once we got to the actual end where it's the Norwegians flying after the dog, just like the very beginning, and they start playing Ennio's score and everything, she was like, they thought they were real fucking clever with this, didn't they?
I did like how they interspersed that throughout the credits, so that it's not like totally necessary you stay for that, but it is nice, because I liked the somber note that they left Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character on. I think she fucking died out in the snow.
Yeah, probably.
And the writer also said that his original intention with the original script was that she was going to die, and all the characters were going to die because it's a prequel, and
they're all dead.
It's a Rogue One situation.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of really cool concepts that could have made for a great movie here, and in the end, I think like really the shitty in-your-face CGI does a lot to really hamper anything that could have been really great about the movie. And because it is also kind of trying to be a Thing remake, it feels very repetitive because you are playing a lot of the same beats. Like literally, her looking with the flashlight in the mouth is a cool concept in this movie, but when you've just watched the Thing, it's the same fucking thing over again.
Yeah,
like
you're just watching.
Yeah, they're just doing the exact same stuff, and you're like, so you really kind of want me to believe that this Norwegian camp went through basically the exact same series of events, and then it happened again at this place in the exact same way? Okay.
Doubtful.
Like, yeah, it feels a little bit lazy, but I think, I won't say that the creators behind this didn't have passion for the original material and that they weren't trying to make something amazing, and that a lot of hard work did go into it. And at the end of the day, much like a lot of movies we talk about, the studio fucked them over, and if the studio's paying for it, that's what happens.
Yeah,
so.
I think that a lot of what they ran into in this is that not only did the studio mess with things that made things complicated, that didn't need to be complicated, that had already been worked out beforehand, I think that the team behind it before the studio got involved focused on the wrong things to try to carry over. I think having really close attention to detail as to what it looked like in the set from the 82 film has value. It's really cool little Easter eggs. You can be like, oh, it looks just like this. That's awesome. That's fine. You can do that if you want to, but I think there's things that they didn't capture that leave a lot of the magic on the cutting room floor. I think that it borrows a lot of character tropes and like stuff like that from the original from the 50s.
Yeah, the doctor character in this is almost exactly the same as he even wears the same hat. Yeah.
And it just those worked in the 50s. They don't work in 2011. Those are tropes. And they've been done to death. It's the reason why 50s movies aren't made. They don't make movies anything like they do in the 50s anymore. And it's because they did the same movie 400 times because they could get away with that because people would only see a couple movies a year. Now you got people who go literally every fucking week. Yeah. And it's so you expect more from your characters. And most of the characters are just, cut and paste. And it doesn't work very well for me. I think that
is this your least favorite of the three?
Yes. I think that, like I said, it has things that have value. And I think that keeping the original effects intact would have helped to mask some of this for me, and I would have been able to enjoy it more. Like I said, I would be willing to give it a try in black and white and see if that at least helps to cover some of that for me and if it might bring the number up for me. But it feels like, based on what they focused on, it feels like they didn't do a very good job of making a movie inside of their making something that connects to the thing.
My final question for you, though, to wrap up your whole spiel here is, do you kind of want to fuck that lady thing?
The one with the fucking...
When she went backwards and was like, and opened up like that, you kind of want to fuck that?
No shot.
Okay, I'm just curious. I'm not saying I wanted to fuck that. I was just curious if you wanted to fuck that.
Seems like maybe he wanted to fuck that.
Let's just move
Projection.
on. Knowing that you didn't watch it, I would highly recommend putting it on in black and white, checking it out that way.
I'll have to, because it's been 11 years since I've seen it. 11 years since I watched the thing.
Yeah, but I would give it a 2.5 out of 5.
Lady things?
Lady tings. Lady tings that I may or may not want to have sexual interdimension.
What's the acronym for that? Like MILF? the LT.
Lady thing I'd like to get assimilated by.
All right. Well,
I think I'm at a 2. It's not the worst thing I've ever watched. I think that if I were just going based off of like anger that they even attempted to touch anything around Carpenter's The Thing, I'd probably give it like a 1. But if I'm being objective, there's merit. I just wish there was more merit to go around.
I know I said I only had one question, but I came up with another question. Which Carpenter remake do you think is a worse shot at it? This or Rob Zombie's Halloween? Which do you think missed the mark on capturing the magic more?
I think Zombie's Halloween. I think that it goes in its own direction. And
are you saying that's the better of the two or the worse of the two?
I'm saying that it misses the mark more because it doesn't capture any of the magic.
Mm-hmm.
It leaves it all behind and basically just says, hey, here's a Rob Zombie film, and we just happen to put Michael Myers in it, sort of.
Yeah, we'll just redo Halloween at the end of this movie.
I'm not saying it's a worse movie overall, necessarily, because I do think it also has some merits that should be shared.
We're not talking about it. We're talking about The Thing and Halloween.
But I think that if we're talking about trying to capture what the original created, it falls further away
from God's light.
Yeah,
God than John Carpenter in this.
So is this for both you guys? It's Carpenter, old thing, new thing?
Yep.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to say about the things?
No, this was fun, like I said, because we got to take a journey into 50s sci-fi, 80s sci-fi, and 2000s, the aughts sci-fi. Or 2011, that would be. Is that still the aughts? I don't know when the aughts end. Anyway.
Yeah, I think it ends at
10?
2009.
Yeah, all right. Well, anyway, if you have opinions about any of the things, let these 3 things know over on Instagram. Other than that, we'll go ahead and move into our final cut.
What do you know? I asked for final cut, and I got it.
As mentioned earlier, for our final cut this week, we are talking about Stranger Things Season 4, Episode 5, and the finale of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, so after the big, very emotional crybaby episode that we watched last week, I think we were all curious what Episode 5 would bring. I know our predictions last week were that we would get some more answers as to what's going on with Elle. That's what this episode was. Gave us some insight into what's going on here. She's basically back in the lab.
Yeah, and we are still breaking the binge, so if you haven't been doing that and you're just been sitting there waiting for part 2, we're still eking our way through part 1. And it's had its ups and downs, but I'm glad we're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels normal, like, at this point.
Well, especially because half of the other shows, most of the other shows we watch, make us do that anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, whatever, I'll just wait. But as soon as Friday hits, I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah, I was actually, because we were busy doing the commentary, I didn't get to watch this until yesterday, so it's a little bit fresher in my mind. But
you were saying something?
Yeah, I think that a lot of our predictions from last week were right on the money. We got a lot of Elle.
Mm-hmm.
We got kind of where the Eddie storyline is headed right now, where the bullies all catch up to him.
I keep forgetting about those fucks, and then they show up again, and I'm like, God damn, wrap it up already. Wrap these guys up.
Yeah. And one of the complaints that we had was that there's so much going on, and this feels like even more stuff.
Yeah, this feels like the most spread out of any of the episodes, because now we've established all the different storylines we're following. So it really made things like with Hopper and with Joyce and with Eddie feel kind of even more extraneous. Like, I'm glad that we're still keeping up with that stuff, but really, I mean, the interesting stuff is Elle is back in the lab. She was with Paul Reiser, who she thought, like, oh, I can trust this guy, and then Matthew Modine shows up, and they make sure to give him big stompy T-Rex entrance, like, boom, boom, boom.
And it just mirrors Paul Reisner's voice, fantastic. I'm like, can you narrate every book? I was like, hello.
He just showed up in The Boys also.
Yeah,
and
I know, the piece of shit, right?
Yeah,
The
and
Legend
I'm like,
is
I'm
some
so happy to
shit.
see him in multiple things that I'm watching. It's really nice. But
I was cracking up.
Elle's back to the shaved head, which I had seen in promos and didn't know whether she was going to go back to the shaved head or whether that was just showing it back because it's iconic. But yeah, she's back to the shaved head, and she is back in a lab where they are trying to figure out, you know, putting her in a tank again and getting her powers back. So she ends up stuck in kind of a like an Inception dreamscape loop thing.
I was really bummed that Owens ended up being kind of a dick. I mean, I know he's still kind of looking out for her throughout the whole thing, but the fact that she wanted to run and then they drugged her, I was like, come on, talk to her. Let her know what's going on. Explain to her. Don't just control her.
It felt like a step backward, yeah.
I think that there wasn't much he could have said, though,
I
that
know.
would have fixed it.
I know.
And I think that her
this guy
figuring out
tormented
that
her for 11 years.
Yeah, but I think that her figuring it out on her own by the end of the episode, I think is the way it was going to happen, no matter if he explained it or not.
I want her to hate him, and I don't want this to change that. I still want him to be the bad guy. I like him as a villain. I am really glad that Brenner is back, and that we are getting some answers to stuff that was set up
he fucking
from season 1.
Disappeared before this.
So,
how'd you guys feel about the introduction of a young Gellert Grindelwald? He's the orderly that keeps showing up and saying like, "Oh, Sleepyhead, what's up?" I think that his character is a new important character that we're supposed to be finding something out about. I have a theory that I'll go into about what his connection to the rest of everything going on is.
His young Gellert in what? In
Deathly Hallows.
Yeah, he's also
when they show the flashback.
He's also from Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, totally.
I feel
Oh, that's that guy?
Joanna.
I didn't realize that they were all the same
I recognized
dude.
him immediately from Sweeney Todd, and I was like popped on my phone real quick, and I was like, yeah, I knew I was right.
Yeah, so we can go more into what's happening elsewhere, and then I'll tell you what my theory is about this guy. But yeah, there's an orderly that keeps showing up in her. She's going through basically flashbacks of when she was in the institute with all of the other kids that are numbered and everything.
In the lab.
Yeah, I'm curious what happened to her sister. Is it 8 or whatever?
8,
is she there? What's going on with her?
I think she is one of the kids that's there.
Yeah, I was curious if they were going to address that at any
Yeah,
point, or if they were going to
if
ignore
we're-
that episode ever happened.
Their backdoor pilot.
Yeah. But outside of that, we have Jonathan and Mike and Will and John Thick all traveling in the van. That's what I called the FBI agent last week.
John Thick for a short while.
Yeah, and he's like,
doesn't.
I gotta give you the information, and then dies. So he gives him a pen. He's like, "Hey, Nina, you got to figure out what this is." We find out as an audience that the Nina thing is where Elle is. It's this. It's the name of the song that they play, the like opera or whatever when she's in the tank. So they have to try to track down where she is somewhere in the Nevada desert. So they spend most of the episode just like out in the desert burying dead FBI agent dude, and Argyle freaking the fuck out.
Mind.
The entire time he's losing his mind, I was just like, "Smoke some weed, bro!"
And so
finally,
Jonathan literally,
when Jonathan was finally like, "Hey, can you go to the van and do your thing?" I was like, "Yes, thank you. You just got to smoke some weed, bro. You're freaking the fuck out."
I was like, "You think weed's the best choice?" Right? I was like,
I do think that this is probably one of the better performances from Harbor for like that scene in like the Russian prison.
I love that we get that explanation that the Agent Orange fucked up his swimmers, and that's what caused his daughter to die. And I liked that connection to his backstory.
I always forget that
really
he has
tragic.
this other life. Yeah, and I was like, oh shit, they've never showed his daughter.
Just watching him
before.
break down for this was just so good.
Yeah, and I love that they were able to tie like his struggle here into him telling this story, and it gives us a little bit more backstory with him. That was cool.
I am the curse. Oh, such a good line. It reminded me of Breaking Bad with like the "I am the danger."
But if he has
I am the one who knocks,
survivor's guilt, he might fall victim.
Yeah, it's
possible. Are they gonna kill him again?
And then in the meantime, we have
he's gotta do the thing.
We have Joyce and Murray on the plane with Yuri. They hatch a plot to use peanut butter jar shards to get themselves out of their binds, and then we get a real wacky midair karate fight that I was fucking totally on board for. I thought it was like my legs are spears. Yeah, I loved it. I thought that the whole plane crash was pretty fucking ridiculous. I was like, okay, these characters are just invincible now. Like, they're just going through whatever and it doesn't matter. But now, who knows what's going to happen to Joyce and Murray and Yuri, because now they are, I guess, crashed out in who knows where. Maybe they'll run into Outpost 31 and the thing.
Well, let's hope they don't.
Yeah, nice little crossover.
But I
fuck with it.
I think that the stuff that's going on with Elle is very interesting. I think that there's going to be more that will come from what happens with Eddie and the bullies.
That scene in the lake when the guy gets pulled under Jaws style, and then and the fact that this is the first time that we've seen it not from the perspective of the person that's being cursed, but we get to see it from the perspective of the characters. Well, we get to see that the characters Nancy and Robin and Steve and all of them are Scooby-Doo style exploring the spooky, which was another theory that we had, that Victor Creel's house was where Vecna's like lair was.
It's definitely not at the trailer park, but that was probably the one thing we've gotten wrong so far. I
did like the very classic Stranger Things puzzle solving where she starts folding up the pieces of paper and then makes them into a house.
Joyce.
I was like, that's very much like Will's map across the whole house in season 2 or 3. 2, yeah. And so
1 and 2, I think they do.
Yeah, they just do the same thing every season. But I really, really love all the stuff in the Creel house and them exploring and how it felt so just like spooky Scooby-Doo with them like following around with the flashlights. Every scene with Steve and Dustin, it just has me rolling.
Yeah,
when he's just like, do I have to tell you everything? You're not a child.
He's kind of a dick, but in a good way. I wanted to go to the boat scene. I'm curious to see if they are going to, I don't remember his name, the blonde bully, the main guy, bully.
If they're going to join forces.
Well, if he thinks that
he cast a spell on him.
Yeah.
Satanic panic.
Because he's the one who mentioned, like, maybe he cursed us. Like, maybe the Hellfire Club cursed us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, well, you did get cursed, but not by the Hellfire Club.
Right, so I'm wondering if he's going to be like, oh, shit, I believe you now, or if he's going to be like, I watched you fucking do it.
I believe you.
So that, hopefully that plays out in a positive way.
Yeah, and then what else happened in this episode that... and then the kind of last that we leave off, Jonathan and the group is they are going up to visit Dusty Bun's girlfriend, whatever her name is, because she's a hacker.
Susie.
Yeah, and they revisit the never-ending store, and I like how Argo's like, used to scare the shit out of me when I was a kid. But nothing. He was like, that's some existential crisis. Yeah, I was like, yes, that movie used to scare the shit out of me too when I was a kid. So my theory about this dude who just showed up, I'm not 100% sure, but I think that he may be the actor who is also Vecna, who's also the Vecna makeup. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't confirmed this because I don't want to spoil anything. I think he may be. I think that Vecna may be like number 1, like the original experiment from like maybe back in the day when they first started trying out this experiment
from the 50s or whatever.
Yeah, and maybe they sent him to the Upside Down and he got stuck there. or something like that. Like there's something where like he.
So what's he doing in the 80s with Elle?
I mean, I don't know. This is what we gotta wait to find out. But I feel like that character showing up now, and just looking at him, I was like, I feel like there's got to be some connection between him and Vecna. And the more the season goes on, and the more they're going into the backstory of Elle and when she was a child and all this stuff, I think they're going to tie these things together where Vecna is somehow part of the experiment, and he may have been like the original experiment. And his power when he was in the experiment might have been to like go into people's minds and see their trauma or something, and that could be related to like what his power was, which is why he's so powerful in the Upside Down compared to everything else, is that he didn't start there. Maybe he started as a person and then like crossed over into that dimension and got lost, and they were
Gotta
like,
have some connection to that house.
yeah. So I don't know what the whole Victor Creel connection to that house, and then maybe that was his childhood home before he got brought into the experiment, and that's where his connection is. I don't know. That's just my very vague theory about how those characters are connected, but yeah, who knows? But I'm excited to see what happens. Yeah, as always, every week.
2 episodes left for this part.
Yep, and then by the time we have watched this upcoming one, they'll have just dropped the other 2 parts.
I think it drops at the end on the first.
Yep, on the first, and then it's 2 episodes after that, so it'll be episode 8 is like an hour and 20 minutes, and then episode 9 is like 2.5. It's like 2.5. It's like a movie length.
Yeah. So we'll still be a little bit behind, but not too much.
Yeah.
And then what are our predictions? What do we think is going to happen with Eddie and the bullies?
I think that your guys' prediction about him thinking that Eddie cursed him is probably spot on. I think that's exactly what it's going to be.
Do we think he's going to be scared, or do you think he's going to be like...
I think it's going to be... I don't know. I'm hoping that they're just going to be like, okay, we believe you. Let's end this, because I don't really care about that storyline.
Yeah, I would like if this is where it gets wrapped up, but I could see your guys' thing or your idea like going too. I'm
kind of over it. I like the Eddie character. I kind of just wish he was involved with the rest of the shit now.
Yeah. With Susie, I want to see her be a character with the rest of the group outside of just being somebody they call on the phone. Yeah, like bring her into the group and have her be a part of it, because it seems kind of unfair at this point that she's really the only Stranger Things actor who is like, they just call her on the phone and she's in one little room that they always film her in, and I'm like, why not bring her into the group and like have her and Dustin in the same room together? Like they'd probably be hilarious and adorable. I'd love to see it. I really hope that Steve and Nancy don't end up being a thing. They keep hinting at there being, that at least that tension from Steve's end about like, oh, I'm not dating Robin, blah, blah, blah. But now that Jonathan has like kind of started stepping back into his role as being like assertive and like wanting to help, I want to see them together and reunite and have that be like a really sweet thing. So, and outside of that, my predictions for, like I said, Vecna and being connected to the experiment with Elle and everything, I think are what I hope to see in the next couple episodes is some reveals involving that.
Yeah, I'm excited for the next episode for sure.
Yeah. Me too.
Cool. So we want to talk about the big bad finale of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Obi-Wan episode 6.
It's been a bumpy ride getting here. We had some ups, we had some downs.
I think overall with the season in general,
General Grievous,
it was fine. I didn't need it, but I'm not mad about it. Not like with Boba, where I was like, this was fucking a waste of time.
Yeah.
This, I was like, okay, that was fine. I didn't need it. I liked Ewan McGregor, but it didn't really do much to enhance what we already have established in the Star Wars universe.
So I felt like it actually did do a lot to enhance specific parts of certain movies in the franchise. I do think that especially this last episode did a lot of legwork to really tie into the other movies and kind of make some of the emotional background and beats in those movies feel a lot more like heartfelt and strong. But I would say that the whole season, just like I said for most of these episodes, has been just a collection of really awesome Star Wars moments that have just been kind of strung together by like plot that doesn't really mean anything to me and really didn't engage me too much. I had fun watching each episode, and I can't say I'm terribly disappointed, really, because if I had to imagine what I wanted to see out of an Obi-Wan show, this delivered everything plus more than I would have expected out of an Obi-Wan show. It just did it in a roundabout way that I could have seen going into like a 2.5 hour movie, or as they're now saying, this was originally planned to be a film trilogy. So 3 movies. I could have easily seen this being done as 1 or 2 movies as opposed to a 6-episode show. I think the format kind of hindered it. Both with being shot on the volume, which I know they're even doing for like Thor, the new Thor, and everything. Like all of Disney shit is being filmed on the volume now. But
oh wow,
yes, something about this felt very small, and some of the action felt very stilted overall. But a lot of those problems I feel like got remedied in this last episode.
Yeah, because they saved all the fucking budget for this shit. Because that battle, holy fucking shit. It's one of the coolest saber fights in the entire show.
The choreography suddenly is like
next level,
yeah, compared to any of the stuff that we've seen in the previous episodes. And I can understand in retrospect now, and I think a lot of people are harping on like, well, you know, you guys just not us specifically, but like people who have been talking about the show as it's been going along have been like, you just wanted it all spoon fed to you from the beginning, and you didn't want to wait. Like, now everybody loves the Riva character because they were able to kind of save her arc in the end in the last 2 episodes, especially in this episode, to make her a character that's kind of humanized. It's just a little too little too late.
They could have started earlier.
Yeah,
they don't have to start immediately, but they could have started earlier.
But people have turned like 180 on the show completely because of how really amazing this last episode was and hit a lot of those like big moments that we all wanted to see. And really, they simplified this down to there's just the Obi-Wan Vader fight and the Riva going to Tatooine and Owen and Beru thing, which, I mean, shout out to Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru.
Damn. Warriors.
Yeah. Did not realize, seeing their charred corpses in A New Hope, that they were fucking out there getting all Mission Impossible.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, you know nothing's going to happen, so it releases all attention from that whole scene.
Yes, thing you kind of have to put out of your brain is that not a single character in this episode you don't know the fate of except for Riva. Mm-hmm. So it's like, really, she's the only one that could surprise you in this, because you know that obviously Obi-Wan, and it even feels a little bit like, really, when Obi-Wan at the end of the battle just walks away, like, oh, well, I guess my friend really is dead, and then walks away, when you're like, you came here to kill him because he's a horrible monster, and you're just going to leave him again, like, disheveled on a planet that you know he's going to easily get off of and heal himself. It just feels like they had to do that because he can't kill him.
Yeah,
it's
right.
just because they had to fit into the canon, and that's another reason where I'm like, I could have easily seen this being branded as like a legend story and just taken this out of the canon and done whatever they wanted with it, and had that last battle come down to somebody dying.
Like, what if?
Yeah,
Almost.
like a what if Star Wars.
Yeah.
Would have given them more freedom to do this story a little bit better, but I mean, the fight was gorgeous. There's something weird about the lightsabers in this show that is like so different from.
They're like glowing on their faces.
It's because
the lightsabers never
lights.
emitted color. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, that's what they started in Force Awakens, is having the actual props that glow, which they do in all the stuff now. But before, it was just a white stick that they'd rotoscope over, so the lightsabers didn't cast like colored light all over everybody's faces like that. Now in this, I think it works really well cinematically, but it does make it feel a little bit strange when you go from the lightsabers in this to like the lightsabers in A New Hope, and they feel like a completely different technology, like a different kind of weapon. But I mean, seeing some of the parallels between their fight on Mustafar and the way that they fought on this, getting to see Obi-Wan Kenobi obviously do the 2-finger point and like his classic pose. We get a hello there when he meets Luke, which is classic Obi-Wan. But
I hate in movies and shows when they take a character that we know as an adult, and then when they show us them as a child, and they make them wear the exact same fucking thing that they wore when they were an adult. Like, they do that so much to show like, this is the same person, but now they're little. And
it's like if Leia had the buns the whole time.
I'm like, dude. And so when she got all dressed, I was like, yeah, you look cute. I'm glad that you're like Leia now. But I was just like, I fucking hate when shows and movies do that, because it just doesn't make sense. I literally never wore this.
So let's quickly talk about the Riva Tatooine stuff, because I feel like that's the less climactic, interesting stuff. So yeah, Riva, after she found the little transmission from Jimmy Schmitz saying, "Hey, Luke's on Tatooine. Go find him. He's somehow important to Anakin." She goes with the mission to kill Luke in revenge, because Anakin killed the younglings, and that's his kid. So we get Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru like setting up shop, getting ready to, like, you know, they could have done more Home Aloneing, honestly.
Yeah,
to try.
They
to
didn't
get
see
her,
the
but
black phone in time.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, or Nightmare on Elm Street, or any number of other movies that do the Home Alone. But yeah, I thought this stuff was cool. I liked that. I mean, I saw it coming a million miles away, but I did like that when she sees Luke, we get her flashing back to when all the Padawans were killed, and she realizes that she would just become Vader, which has kind of been her character arc this whole time, is like she's heading toward becoming Vader instead of stopping him. And I thought it was a very emotional moment between her and Obi-Wan when they meet back in the desert after she brings Luke back. I thought it was very convenient that they pull a Smallville and make sure that Luke is unconscious for any scene that has anybody holding a lightsaber or doing anything that would spoil his wonder of seeing those things for the first time in A New Hope. They're like, oh, he's gonna be passed out most of the time. Really felt like little Luke got shrifted
he slept
in this
70% of this show, guaranteed.
Yeah, while Leia's all like gallivanting across the galaxy, but really that kind of feels in step with A New Hope. Because really, she's the one off doing crazy shit in space already, and then he's all like hanging out on a farm.
I was gonna go to Tachi Station and get some power converters.
Yeah.
So good. So what are your thoughts about Reva Tatooine?
I felt like they gave the character a good send off, and I think that I would potentially be interested to see where she goes from here outside of the Skywalker saga, and see if maybe
her like road to redemption, or
she joins up with the rebellion, or if she just goes and trains and does some cool shit on the side, or if
some space rat shit,
or if she does some gray area shit and becomes like a bounty hunter or something.
I do really like the idea of her showing up as a rebel in the future. That's a really cool idea.
Yeah,
like because it would make a lot of sense that she would like join the path to like redeem herself, and then she could show up in Andor. Yeah, we never know.
I'd be down for that.
Yeah, I really liked that moment, but motherfuckers got to stop leaving their lightsabers out in the sand. On Tatooine. That's all I'm gonna say. Because at the
dangerous.
Because at the end of Rise of Skywalker, she puts the Leia's and Luke's lightsabers in the sand.
She's like, "Oh, hey, wait, is that an Inquisitor?"
Any Tusken with a metal detector is gonna be fucking outfitted like General Grievous once they find like all those lightsabers out in the sand. But let's talk about the piece de resistance.
Yeah.
The Darth Vader Obi-Wan fight.
Dude. I loved it. I thought it was great. I like seeing Obi-Wan have his style that we see in the prequels, where he's really spinny with everything.
Yeah.
I guess for lack of a better word. Some of the time I was like, Vader, why aren't you using your other hand? And there's a lot of times when I was like, just fight him. Like, you can do it. And so I felt like he was, because they needed more tension, he sometimes pulled his punches more or less.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I did like that you got to see them kind of use the full repertoire of like, because you got to see Vader doing the like stopping the lightsaber thing, and then both
that was sick, dude.
Yeah, using the Force, and then obviously Vader doing the whole like throwing rocks on top of Obi-Wan, which I loved that his way of overcoming that was thinking about Luke and Leia, which ties into A New Hope when he is with Vader in the room and he looks out and sees like Luke and Leia getting to safety, and that's when he decides, okay, I can pass on into the Force. Is obviously they are his inspiration for moving forward, like his like, okay, if I'm protecting them, then I'm of service, and he even says that when he's on the ship when he's leaving, when he's like, this is my mission, I got to stop Vader and protect these kids. All of that I thought was super cool, and just seeing them go ham on each other was such a cathartic feeling.
I loved the cracked open helmet.
Yeah, and the voice effect of his
huge
voice,
shout out to the sound design in this.
Yeah. And I think
getting to hear Hayden Christensen's voice mixed with James Earl Jones in that way was something that I never thought I would see because we don't even get that in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
And getting to see that kind of like what he looks like at all times, and he looks fucking scary because when he smiles under that thing, and he has that creepy ass smile when he's like, just like I'm gonna destroy you or whatever, he looks like a monster. And it's pretty horrifying, and for Hayden Christensen to do that much acting with just this much of his face showing in the mask, pretty impressive. Pretty cool.
Show you how bad the writing was in the prequels.
I think that it just goes to serve that the writing in the prequels is really what did the disservice to him. I think there's still great things about his portrayal of the character when you go even further back into the second and third films. I think that you do the best of the bad situation, and I think that him making him, in the second film, making him seem like just an angry, petulant teenager, because that's what he is. I think that works well, and then having him kind of develop more into just a very rageful adult who doesn't understand what's happening around him, but just does what he has to do, or what he thinks that he has to do to save the people that he loves. I think that all of that worked well, and I think that his performance works well for that reason.
How did you feel about this scene for the show?
I think that the battle itself, it does some of the coolest lightsaber fighting in the entire franchise. I think that it's two of the best, sword duelers, two of the best, Force users that are in the canon, and just has them throw everything they can at each other.
Yeah, we get Space Jesus with Obi-Wan with throwing all the rocks.
Yeah. And then Obi-Wan getting buried under the rocks and then finding his way out reminded me a lot of Spider-Man.
Yeah, when he lifts the rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I felt like that worked really well for the character. And I felt like the conversation that they had, aside from him walking away at the end and not just finishing the job, I think
it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And that's some of the stuff that I feel like lends a little bit more weight to the relationship in the prequels. Like seeing where it's come to at this point makes that all feel so much more tragic. And then also his line about, I just love when there's that little glimpse and he's got the blue on him from Obi-Wan's lightsaber, and you think for a second Anakin might be peeking through to give Obi-Wan kind of like the closure, because really this is where I felt like, oh, this is why this show exists, because you get to see how Obi-Wan gets from the point at the end of Revenge of the Sith where he is heartbroken, thinks he killed his friend, feels betrayed, all of this, to being the more reserved, like, okay, I got to do what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna become one with the Force. You're just evil Darth. Like, even to calling him Darth instead of Anakin, you're like, how did he get from that point to that point? This scene gives you that kind of closure because he apologizes, like, oh my God, it was heartbreaking when he's all teared up and he's like, I'm sorry, Anakin, I'm sorry for all of it. And he's like, I'm not your failure, Obi-Wan. You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker. I did.
Yeah.
I got chills just saying it just now.
Yeah.
Yeah, down my whole fucking body. Because, yeah, I mean, that closes that loop on their characters. It shows where Vader's state of mind is. He doesn't even see himself as Anakin, and he understands that this is all his fault, really, at the end of it. The second that he knelt down in front of Palpatine and was like, I will serve you, was when he killed Anakin Skywalker. And he knows that. So, but then it also gives Obi-Wan that closure to be able to go like, okay, then my friend is truly dead, which then makes him seem like less of a shitbird when he tells Luke, like, well, your father was murdered by Darth Vader.
Because it's literally
from a certain point of view.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, because he fucking told me that to my face when we were fighting.
He said that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Vader wanting Obi-Wan for 10 years and then Palpatine being like, don't do it. And he was just like, okay. It's like, Palpatine, why didn't you tell him that 5 years in? Like, why wait until when he's this close to getting him?
Yeah, but I don't know if he's been, because like,
I don't know. That just,
show.
They had to because that's how it starts.
Yeah.
So they had to end it where it starts. And I get that, but I was just like, it's
but
all
the impetus,
just too convenient.
The impetus, too, for him, like, hunting Obi-Wan hardcore in this is, like, Reva hunting him down. So if Reva hadn't kind of discovered what Obi-Wan was up to and all this stuff and alerted Vader, I think Vader would have just kept doing his thing and like kind of ignored Obi-Wan like he was doing. And it was only once he realized in the span of this show that Obi-Wan was alive, and that he knew where he was, basically, that he was like, I'm gonna go try to kill him. And then the Emperor's like, no, you're my bitch.
I'm also sure that it's probably not a great idea that to keep allowing your pet fighter to go out and get his ass kicked over and over again, because Obi-Wan was bad fucking ass.
I love how he basically just he just sweeps the floor with him and just shows him once again why he will just never defeat him, even though Vader has that line where he's like, which is why you will always lose. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? That dude chopped all your limbs off and left you on a volcano last time, and now he's going to show you
better than ever.
yeah
Just a little asthma.
Yeah, and now he's gonna show you what's up once again. But yeah, heartbreaking, very climactic.
It seemed like someone had this scene, this fight, this dialogue, and they were like, okay, this is what everyone wants to see.
Worked
now
outward.
let's build a show around this.
Yeah.
And they did.
Yeah.
Because that scene is how you can be like, now I understand why they brought Hayden Christensen back.
Yeah.
Up until then, it's like he wasn't really super necessary to be like in the back to tank or in the flashback, really. Like, we didn't need that stuff, but it wasn't until the mask was cracked open and you could see him in there that you really understood why it was important for him to come back. And then especially that fight with them being like, that those actors trained hundreds of hours together for all of this lightsaber fighting in the previous movies and in this. It's awesome to see. And I guess Hayden Christensen said that his young daughter was like his lightsaber training partner for everything, and that she is like a massive fan. She got him a shirt for Father's Day that says like world's greatest dad and has Darth Vader on it.
That's pretty great.
And like, how cool is that to say that your dad is Darth Vader?
Yeah.
And now that he's kind of been redeemed in the eyes of Star Wars fans, where now everybody loves Hayden Christensen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like everybody on Twitter is like, he's been trending for days. Like, everybody's like, we love him, bring him back in more stuff. Like, we want more of him.
I hope this gives him the career arc that he should have had. I mean, he almost won an Academy Award for his very first outing as an actor.
Was that Shattered Glass?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
he did Life as a House, and I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just a
Jumper was cool.
Yeah.
Star Wars can just either
was,
make or break your career. I mean, like, really, you look at somebody like Mark Hamill, and it's like, what has he really done outside of voice acting since Star Wars? Like, if he hadn't been in Star Wars, he probably would have had a much different, more active career. No offense to Mark Hamill, I think he's a great guy, but
Well, I mean, his voice acting is iconic, almost as much as his Star Wars role.
yeah. Well, then I guess we can wrap up by talking about the Return of the King level number of endings that this episode had, where it was just like, now we got to say bye to everybody.
And then we get taken right at the end.
Yeah.
A little Qui-Gon Jinn reunion.
Have you seen the behind the scenes photo of him with the sunglasses on, and he's got like a little umbrella?
No.
Yeah. And he's all in the Qui-Gon getup.
That's so tight.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a little underwhelming. I guess I don't know what I expected, but he was just like, hey.
They almost set it up for there to be more Obi-Wan adventures.
Everybody's saying do a buddy cop show with him and Ghost Qui-Gon. But I'm like, I think that the reason that they did it this way is because Liam Neeson wasn't going to come back to Star Wars for more than that.
Yeah.
He even said in an interview the only reason he did it is out of respect for George Lucas and because he's friends with Ewan. And he was like, outside of that, like, I didn't want to come back, especially for TV. He was like, I'm too good for TV, basically, which you're not. Liam Neeson. Hate to break it to you at this point, but
on top of that, like,
TV's hella tight.
Yeah, there are some of the best things I've ever seen have been on TV. I mean, I can count more than my fingers and toes experiences I've had from television that have been just as impactful as some of the best films,
including The Taken Show, Liam.
Yeah, but I liked that Obi-Wan got to meet Luke and give him the spaceship that he plays with in A New Hope.
Which you said was going to happen from the beginning.
Yeah, so liked that. I did think that the goodbye between him and Leia, as much as I wish she hadn't been such a big part of this season, I thought was incredibly heartfelt when he tells her, like, hey, you're this, and this, what you get from your mother, and you're this, and this, what you get is a gift from your father. I loved that scene between them.
And they sort of
try to fix why she speaks the way she does to him in A New Hope.
Because it's like,
you gotta keep it a secret.
Yeah.
He's like, can't let people know that we know each other. So when you try to reach out to me, say like, well, you fought with my father in the Clone Wars and blah, 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 and like try to keep it a secret. So I was like, okay, you guys are doing your best to try to tie this up so that it works in some sort of way. But another thing that people pointed out that I had never realized is that Leia's lightsaber, when we see her in later movies Jedi practicing, looks just like a golden version of Obi-Wan's, and Luke's lightsaber, when he makes his green one, also looks like Obi-Wan's. So it's kind of a nice little... Obviously, he was such a huge part of both of their lives as young people that they would both be inspired to, and got to see him be one of the first people that they see use the lightsaber.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Liked that stuff. But yeah, Obi-Wan is taken off into the desert to find a new cave to hang out in. Hang out with some Tusken Raiders. And
Caveman.
Yeah, but overall, like I said, I thought this delivered. This finale delivered for sure, and overall, the show delivered on all of the beats that I wanted to see. It was just kind of a weird journey getting there.
Yeah, I wanted what we got in this episode. Everything else, aside from a couple of missteps, were nice to haves.
I'll probably go back to that battle with Vader and Obi-Wan, probably just to watch, like, for fun. I was rewinding it once the episode was over. I rewound it back to that scene when they're talking to each other with the mask broken, and just kept rewatching it because I was like, oh, that voice effect is so cool, and like the way that it looks, ties into a big climactic battle between Vader and Ahsoka in the Rebels show, where she breaks the other half of his mask. And they have a very similar like confrontation between each other, and so it's supposed to be like poetry. Like they broke different halves of his mask, but could never fully free him, or some bullshit.
I would love to see Hayden Christensen come back for Ahsoka and be a potential player in that.
Yeah, I'd be fine to see him do more Vader for sure. And if we get more of him in the bacta tank, or more flashbacks to maybe them when they were in the Clone Wars, him and Ahsoka, I'd be into it.
Yeah,
cool. All right. The binge has been broken for Obi-Wan.
Yeah, that's a wrap on Obi-Wan pierogies.
Yes, so next week for Final Cut, we will continue to cover Stranger Things. And then for our main discussion, to continue Creature Camp, we are talking about Cloverfield and...
Gojira. The original Japanese Godzilla.
Woo, all right, so that should be fun.
Yeah. I'm very excited.
Couple of creatures.
Yeah, so look out for that. Look out on YouTube for our review of The Black Phone. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/porcelainpeak for our soon-to-be ongoing, but just beginning Umbrella Academy Season 3 reviews. We got a lot of shit going. If you want content, that's right. We got a lot of shit going on, dog. If you want more content, we got more content.
My dog is very excited. Apologize. I think we're all kind of dipping our toes into Captain Marvel, so if that is something, or Miss Marvel, if that is something that you're interested in hearing us talk about, please let us know.
I will start if you so
only
ask
if you
me.
want it, though. We're not just going to do it for fun.
And if you're not watching The Boys, Fucking watch The
I
Boys.
actually
That shit's
haven't
so
watched-
good.
I've watched the first episode of the first season of that show and enjoyed
You're doing
it
yourself a
thoroughly,
disservice.
and then never picked it back up.
Yeah, well, if you're a Jensen Ackles fan, you're getting all the Jensen Ackles you could ask for in this
And I
whole
am.
season.
And I am. And a Jim Beaver fan. Anyway, we will see you next week. Thank you so much for listening and or watching this episode. We hope that you enjoyed. I have been Tone. Counselor Tone.
I've been Counselor John.
And you didn't kill the internet, darling. I did. Counselor and internet darling Anthony.
See you next time.
Keep it campy.
Bye.
For exclusive episodes, early access, merch, and to support the show, head over to patreon.com/Porcelain Peak.
Thanks to all our patrons for the support, and special thanks to producers Chuck, Rob, Ashley, and Michael.
You can find Porcelain Peak on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and TuneIn.
Wherever you listen, don't forget to rate, review, share, and subscribe so you never miss a thrilling episode.
Special thanks to Roger Jackson for introducing the show, and to Jeff For Real for composing the Porcelain Peak opening and closing song.
All content and episodes are written, produced, designed, and edited by the Porcelain Peak team, consisting of Anthony Perez, John Brasher, and Anthony Silva.
This has been here words for Weirdos Production.